Hey y'all, Ren here of Taurus Rising, back with you again for our weekly Wellness with Tarot, our Fool's Journey series. Today we are working with the Devil. So, as the Fool goes along their journey, learning these things, learning different concepts, and having these experiences throughout their journey, along the way they learn about sort of the darker side, if you will. That might even not be the right way to say that, but the shadows that we experience, the shadows, the the troubling things that we struggle with as humans. Because here on this earth plane, we have emotions and we have weaknesses, we have vulnerabilities, and that is just something that happens. And some people deal with darker stuff than others, but really it's about those things that we often have shame around, or maybe seek out. So I guess we'll really talk about the shadow first. So one thing that the Devil represents is the shadow part of humanity. So if you're familiar with Carl Jung's work, the shadow is the part of us that we exile, that we find shame around. And there's also this idea of the collective shadow, like things like, criminals or people who do bad things. And another, y'all have heard me reference To Be Magnetic a lot. They talk about the shadow and how we all have, there's this spectrum of humanity, and we all have a little bit of it in us, right? And the answer isn't to exile it or to push it away, it's to confront it. Carl Jung had the saying, what we resist persists. The more you run away from something, the more that you're actually giving it power. To give you a concrete example, perhaps like a shadow could be like feeling like you're lazy or something like that. And maybe the more you try to overcompensate for feeling lazy, maybe that like comes out in some ways, like maybe working too hard and then like overcompensating by resting. So it's essentially, it's those parts of us that we haven't integrated, the parts that really just need to be seen and be accepted, and versus seeing as all bad. If you're familiar with internal family systems, the idea that there's no bad parts. We're all just, doing our best, trying to get through life. And sometimes we have coping skills and tools that don't, they work until they don't. The Devil could also be about, related to the shadow could be, addictions, things that chain us. As you can see, there's these figures here are chained. This card, it's very much mirrored to the Lovers card. It's very similar, even has the whole like Garden of Eden kind of Adam and Eve figures like here with the tree, but in the Devil we've got, the Devil. And so it's really the parts of us that maybe, and the world and other humans that we have fear around or shame. But the answer is to integrate them and shed the light on them and heal them, integrate. So the Devil is about, the darker side, the darker things that maybe we have shame, taboo around, addiction, shadow. Something also is codependency is something that I think about with this. I feel like I'm a librarian sometimes. I'm telling y'all about these books and programs, but there's this author that I really like named Darlene Lancer, and she talks about, she's the guru on codependency, and she really teaches about it in a really helpful, practical way. And she defines codependency as when you orient your thoughts, actions, and behaviors around a person, process, or substance. So in that vein, codependency could be any sort of addiction, anything that you are chained to that has a hold on you. And so that's something that I think about when I see this card too. So anything that is chaining you down, something that you are not fully owning or looking at, will continue to chain you down. Even something as small as, well, you've got that closet that's full of stuff, and you kind of keep it closed. You just stash stuff away, and whenever you look at it, you've got some anxiety around it because this thing is undone that you need to address. That's sort of another like kind of small daily example of this card, those things that you need to look at but are putting off, kicking the can down the road, if you will. So that's the energy of this card, the things that chain us that really just need healing and to be looked at. And so now we ask the tarot. The tarot is like, where do we need the wisdom of this card? Where do we need, to hear or learn or be aware of the energy of this card in our lives? So I'm going to put that one there. That's the Radiant Rider-Waite Devil. So it's got that traditional imagery and symbolism. And today for the actual reading, I'm using a deck that I haven't used in a while. It's the Dreams of Gaia, Dreams of Gaia. It's really a beautiful deck. It's a little bit different because it has the elements versus like the actual, like instead of swords, it's got air. So it's a cool deck. So I hope that y'all will enjoy seeing it. So we ask the tarot, where do we need to hear about the Devil card? What does it have to teach us in our lives today? All right. Pulling a card. I give it a minute and kind of think about. I'm kind of feeling like it's this one. Interesting. Cool. So we've got the 10 of Earth reversed. So whereas the traditional deck has pentacles, this deck it's Earth. Pentacles represent Earth. So essentially it's the same thing, but it's just sort of a different way to conceptualize. I'm trying to show this to y'all without the glare. So it's a very beautiful card. The cool thing about this deck is it's just very vibrant. Lots of details. I'll just put it reverse or upright just so you can see. So we've got a figure here with a lovely mask. It's just very green. There's lots of earth, imagery to this card. Something that really stands out to me is the red hair. This is really bright. And then what's really cool is there's like a doe kind of peeking out there. Little deer medicine. But getting into this card. So 10, the number 10 represents like completion, sort of wholeness, complete cycle. Earth is going to be more about, earth stuff, material, plane, money, security, resources. Could also just refer to home, just security, the vibe of security. And this figure looks just very abundant. There's a glow to them. Their clothing looks just very lush. She's got even like a little pet dragon here. So just like abundance is what I get from this card. And it's reversed. What is coming to mind for me too is there's shadow perhaps around abundance, security. And that could go either, oh my God, there's such glare on this card. Almost like resisting that, like resisting security, abundance, maybe even self-sabotage around money, perhaps, or resources. There's some sort of shadow around it, and that could manifest in either extreme, like almost like a need to hoard resources, like, okay, I need to feel secure, like a hoarding onto resources or working really hard just to make sure you have money, or maybe oversaving. But there could also be some sort of like a sabotaging around it, like maybe overspending. So it could be either or, but there's like a shadow around resources, money, having abundance. There could, underneath that could be some sort of limiting belief that you learned growing up, like, oh, money is bad, or having, resources is bad. It's not fair. It's not equitable. Maybe like money is the root of all evil is like an old saying, or maybe thinking, oh, rich people have it easy. Things come easy to them. There's some sort of shadow around money, perhaps, which could manifest in either extreme of like finding yourself in scarcity and overspending, self-sabotaging, or almost like holding on to it too much to where you're maybe you could take it easy a little bit. You could relax. You could enjoy the fruits of your labor. Um, something like that. That's what I'm really getting at. Or maybe this idea that this this abundance is out of reach. The traditional Ten of Pentacles is it's like has a lot of family. It's like a very family oriented card. There's a lot of family. It's very an abundant card. It's like lots of generations, legacy. So that I think about that one. I also see the Ten of Earth, but it's about some sort of resistance or wound, shadowy belief around having money, having resources, or what it needs to be. It could even be a limiting belief around like, oh, I have to be corporate and have that kind of thing to have an abundant lifestyle. I need to have a boat or, I need to have these things because that's what your template for what abundance is. But maybe yours actually is different than that. Like maybe you want to live in the south of France on a boat, like, so there's some sort of thing that needs to be looked at, either shadow around resources, limit, like that it's not good, or that you need to do it in a certain way to be acceptable. Something like that. Some sort of need to really look at beliefs around money, and maybe like some things that some baggage that you have around the concept of money and resources, that you think it's not right, or that it has to be a certain way, or you have to fit some sort of mold in order to be loved, in order to be doing it right, if you will. So that's kind of what I'm getting at from this card. So it's really a need to look at beliefs around like shadow, or chains you have around money, needing it, maybe feeling bad for needing it or hoarding it, some sort of shadow around money, resources, wealth. That's what I'm getting from this card. Or maybe a need to have a certain title, have a certain kind of lifestyle that you would feel tethered to. What is it? The golden handcuffs. I've heard that phrase, the golden handcuffs of like having to have a certain amount of money and a 401k and be able to live a certain lifestyle, but maybe that's actually not good for you or not authentic for you. And it's really like you're kind of on this hamster wheel that you really want to get off, but you don't know how. So there's something around that this may not resonate for all. Remember, this is a collective reading, not an individual reading. So this may not be landing for everyone. Some of you might have actually done a lot of work and are work on your beliefs around resources and money. And so you're like, I learned that last year. So, take what you like and leave the rest. But that's what I'm really getting from this card. I think it's appropriate because we're getting into holiday season here in the United States in the Northern Hemisphere. It's December, so, commercialism and, holiday shopping is about. So perfect timing, I think, for this card in the first week of December. And as I have been doing, what I'm going to do is pull from the bottom of the deck. I hope you all have enjoyed seeing some cards from this deck. I think it's a really pretty deck. We're going to see another one here in a bit. So what else do we need to know about the Devil card or the lessons of the Devil card? Oh, lovely. The Queen of Water. Also, you might think of this as the Queen of Cups. It's a very beautiful card, very vibrant, lots of colors, water, sea imagery. Water is really about, cups, like, the cup suite in the traditional deck. So it's really about emotion, creativity, things that are mutable, not really solid form, maybe even, creative ideas, creative flow, emotions, even relationships. Those things that are like tangible but intangible, if you will. And then the Queen, I think of the Queen's, kind of feminine energy. I really kind of think about this card. It's very like a therapist, someone who's very in tune with emotions, and that kind of thing. Intuitive, Um, so, in the context of the devil card, okay, so what else does the devil have to tell us about our life today? The Queen of Water. This could even be someone in your life. This could represent a personality or someone in your life, maybe past, present, or future, that maybe there's some sort of Queen of Water figure in your life. Maybe not presently, but could be in the past, maybe even an ancestor, maybe someone who's passed on. It could even be a therapist, could be your therapist, or someone who has some sort of wisdom about where the devil is showing up in your life, or some sort of chain or tether or something that is holding you back. And, perhaps a message about that is going to come from another person for you. It could be an actual therapist, which would be funny. Or it could be, a friend, trusted mentor type, or maybe even something in a dream that you have, or perhaps an ancestor. You might even think, oh yeah, I remember great Aunt Sally would tell me this one thing, and maybe that unlocks something in you. So to me, that's what is coming up for me, that there's some sort of person in your life that this represents, past, present, future, that has some sort of message around what's holding you back, some sort of chain. It's going to bring some sort of light to you. And this could even be representing me right now. Like if maybe something unlocked for you, hearing about the devil, who knows? But yeah, so keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for your Queen of Water, who might have something for you, might teach you something or say just the right thing. You might even hear this on a TV show. There's been times where I hear something on a show that's just playing on the background, and it's like, oh, that's what I needed to hear today. I think wisdom comes from unexpected places and sources. So keep an ear out, keep an eye out. All right, so just to recap what we have learned so far. The devil is the card that we have learned about in our Fool's Journey. As the Fool goes through their journey, they learn about sort of the darker things, the things that can chain you, hold you back, the things that need healing, need looking at, integrating. Really need to be seen, shown a light on, and accepted. That could be, as they say, character defects or some things that in your life and your personality and your way of thinking and your way of feeling that needs some attention, needs some healing, integrating. Anything from addiction, codependency, things that tether you, that hold you back, that keep you small. That is the wisdom of this card. And where do we need in our lives? Well, kind of related to money and resources. There's some sort of maybe baggage that you have around money, resources, especially this time of year with it being the holidays and lots of spending, lots of commercialism going around. So just kind of think about that. Think about any sort of chains or baggage you have around money, resources, or career, maybe even like a lifestyle that you feel like you have to live, but maybe you don't, maybe there's some things in your life you need to just switch up and that actually will feel better for you. And then our bonus card was the Queen of Water, which to me represents some sort of figure that is going to bring some wisdom to you related to this. Could be a therapist, could be a mentor, a friend, a family member, someone in a dream or an ancestor, a memory that you hear from like someone who's passed on or in your past who maybe shared some wisdom related to this, or maybe even in media or on Instagram or TV, who knows? So just keep an ear out for any sort of wisdom that you might have around things that are chaining you. All right, and that is our weekly wellness tarot reading for the week. Stay tuned, and I will see y'all next week for our next card in the Fool's Journey. I will see y'all then.